Hi everyone. I have a little confession to make today. But there's an empty shul. I have one person here today. My son Levi, who's here, who's doing online school in the room next door. So Levi, are you willing to sit through my sermon?
Yes, Tati, but only if you start off with a joke.
Only if I start off with a joke. Okay, but Levi, you need to sit down. So they tell Levi, perfect. They tell the story of a rabbi, a brilliant rabbi that was invited to the community and to give a talk. And he gave a talk. There's 1,000 people that ccame in. But even though he was great, after an hour, people started walking out. And he continued talking 2 hours. After 2 hours, more people. And after 4 hours, there was only one person left. So like I have right now in this show, one person, only one person left. So this rabbi, a great intellectual, goes over to this individual, says, I must thank you. At least there's one very intellectual person in the community who appreciates my brilliance, who appreciates my depth of the Torah. And the man says, I'm sorry, I didn't understand one word you said. He says, so why are you sitting here? He says, because I'm the custodian, I need to close the lights when you leave. But today, at least I have my son sitting here, Levi, and more importantly, or as importantly, not more importantly, but as importantly, I have all of you listening and in your homes, but we all unite together through what we're talking and what we're studying. What's the confession I'm going to make? The confession I'm going to make is that rabbis are the most difficult people to get inspired. Why? When you get inspired, how do you get inspired? You hear an interesting story. You read something, you watch something, you learn something, and you start thinking about it, and that inspires you. But us rabbis, what happens is when we read something that's inspiring, what's the first thing we say? We don't even have a chance to internalize, oh, that's something good I could use in my sermon in shul. Oh, that's something good that I could teach in my Torah class. You don't allow the story to actually inspire you. You don't give it an opportunity. But I did have a story. There are stories that really wow. When it happened to me, I didn't come in as a rabbi, I just came in as a participant, or I allowed myself to be open to it. It really impacted me. So I want to share one of those stories with you today that really had a big impact on me and taught me you never know. One of the great honors I have is I'm a volunteer chaplain for Miami-Dade Police Department. And what our job is, we do invocations, benedictions, we're there for families when, God forbid, an officer is killed in line of duty, we're there for happy occasions, sad occasions. That's one of my great honors to give back to the community. So in 2011, I was supposed to give the invocation for a police memorial where they have a few thousand people at the police memorial. They have it once a year to remember the fallen police officers. And I remember before I had to get up to speak, there were going to be a few thousand people there. I was taking a walk. And I started thinking to myself, why am I even doing this? Why am I leaving my family at night? You know, when I go to hospitals and visit patients, when I go to prisons, most of them are when I go to prisons to teach the Jewish inmates, I know they're very appreciative. They say how much they need us to come, how we inspire them. But when you go to the police officers, I speak, no one really responds. I'm there for them, but I don't really get feedback. Does God really want me to do this? Is this really important for me to do? I don't really see how I'm impacting people's lives. Literally, as I finished thinking this, I overhear a conversation, two police officers standing right next to me, and one person tells the other a story. And he tells the story that I knew this story, and after he finishes telling this story, he says, this story I heard, and he turns to me, from this rabbi chaplain when he came to our Kendall police station in 2005. And that story had such a big impact on me that you shared, Rabbi, that I repeat it over and over again. So I said, thank you very much. You don't know what you just did for me. In my head, I was about to kind of stop doing this. But you telling me this story, it reminded me people are listening and you could have an impact. And what is this story? I'll share with you this story, and I'll say it very quickly. They have a child that one day a teenager was complaining to the parent how difficult the life is. You know, it happens with, sometimes teenagers, none of you are listening, how difficult, challenging life is, and life could be challenging. So the parent said, let me teach you a lesson in life. And he brings them into the kitchen, takes 3 pots of water, fills them up. In the first pot, they put eggs. The second pot, they put carrots. And the third pot, they put coffee beans. And after 15 minutes, he says, look, all 3 pots were the same. All 3 pots had the same heat. All 3 pots had the same tension. But look how each one developed within it. The egg went in soft, went through the heat, and became hard. Some people go through challenges in life, that represents the heat. Before the challenge, they're soft. And afterwards, they come out hard. It can be bitter, difficult. The second pot of water, they put carrots. These carrots, before they went in, they were hard. Now they come out as soft. Some people, the opposite. When before the story, the challenge in life, they're confident, they're strong. They come out of the challenge, they're broken. Let's go to the third pot. The third pot had the coffee beans. So before, there were coffee beans and water, and now the coffee beans actually changed the water and made it coffee. Some people, not only they don't get impacted, that they get completely destroyed, but they have the capacity, the capabilities, and the recognition that they could change the environment around you. So you have a choice. Are you going to be a coffee bean? So you have a choice. Are you going to be an egg? Are you going to be a carrot? Or are you going to be a coffee bean? And that's up to you. Because we all go through these challenges. Fine. So this story happened, I think it was 2011. I don't remember who the police officer was who told it to me, but I thanked him for telling me the story. At that moment, I needed to hear that I had an impact without me even realizing it. Fast forward to 2019. Now, I don't remember who the police officer was. I just remember the story. 2019, I was giving a invocation. It was a police graduation. Or it was a police, they were going up a rank. There's about 1,000 people in the audience. I gave the invocation. That's part of our responsibilities. I get down. I sit down. And right after me, the director of the Miami-Dade Police Department, Juan Perez, who just retired, gets up to speak. And he starts telling the police officers, you never know the impact you're going to have, and you have a choice to make how you're going to be when you go through the challenge. And then he starts saying the story of the coffee beans and the egg. And I'm thinking to myself, that's weird. How does he know this story? Now, I happen to know Juan Perez from the last few years as a police chaplain once he became the director. And he starts telling the people in the audience, you never know, and he says the story. I'm thinking to myself, I mean, it's not a story that I made up. It's a story you get online, but like, it's surprising. And then he turns to the audience. He says, I want to tell you a story. I was a police officer in 2005, and a rabbi came in to say this story, and this story had an impact on me. And in 2011, this rabbi was himself not sure if he should continue being a police chaplain, and I had an impact on him. And he turns to me, actually I have it on video because it's a video of that. He turns to me, he says, this rabbi right over here impacted me without him realizing he impacted me. And then I impacted him. And he turns to all the people in the audience, over 1,000 people, and he tells them, listen, we have a choice. We all go through challenges. We have a choice, and the impact, it's up to us. We could have a great impact on people around us if we decide to be the coffee bean. I'm sitting there like so trembling, saying, I can't believe it. Did I ever believe in 2005 when I walked into the Kendall police station that 10 years or 15 years later, this person will be, 6 years later, I'll be talking with him. He'll be at a police memorial. Fast forward, 8 years later, he'll be the director of Miami-Dade Police Department, repeating a story that happened with me and him in 2005. This is not here to come and tell you how great I am. It's here to tell us that we all could have that same type of impact. You know, everyone is scared of the coronavirus and everyone doesn't even want to talk about it. But I want to tell you, there's something that we could learn from this virus. One of the things about the virus, and I have older parents that now in New York, and in-laws, and we tell everyone, young people, stay away from them. Don't go to the home. But what happens if you're feeling fine? What happens if you don't have any fever? What happens if you don't have any stomach issues? Could I go to them? And what do they tell you? No, don't go. And the reason why they tell you don't go is because you could be carrying this virus without you knowing. You walk into the house, you leave, and you leave the impact on them. And they can become very sick, God forbid, and dangerously sick. And it could be life and death. So you may not even realize that you're carrying it. and you walk into your parents' house, you can walk into a store and touch something, and that affects someone else, and that person affects someone else, and you never know where this is going to go, so stay away from people. But we can learn the opposite. Also, when it comes to good, we all carry within ourselves amazing qualities. We impact people more than we ever realize. And this impact is there even if they don't tell us, thank you so much. Even if they don't send you a thank you note or do a like on Facebook and tell you how great you are, send you a bottle of wine. But we have so much good to give that we carry within ourselves. So the way we handle our spouse and our children and our parents, and when we go to work, how we are at work, and how we are in the store, or wherever it may be. I can tell you so many stories that people impacted people, and those people that did the impact never will know the impact that they had on someone, one part of the world, that later on someone went somewhere else and did something good for someone else. It may never even come back to you. So we could learn from the virus, from the negative, from the positive, that the impact we have may be more than we'll ever know. But the most important thing is that we should always do the right thing. We should always do the right thing, and it's guaranteed that we will impact the world. So it ties in very well into this week's Torah portion. But this week's Torah portion talks about the sacrifices that we brought to the altar. Now, it's not the most exciting book to read in the Torah. But one of the messages we could get is one of the sacrifices you brought is if you did a sin inadvertently. Why do you bring a sacrifice to sin, to ask forgiveness? I didn't know. The answer is if you knew or you didn't know, it doesn't make a difference. The effect is there. Well, I didn't know, I didn't realize. But you know what? Even if you didn't realize, the effect is there. The same thing is in the positive. Even if we don't know the impact we have, the impact is there. So we always have to make sure we do the right thing. Now we're all going to be celebrating Shabbos. This Shabbos, let this be another Shabbos where we could really take a moment to think about what's important. And this gives us, the God gave us a moment that we all are forced to stop. But let's take advantage of the moment. And let's realize all the great qualities we have. And let's say, you know what? We're going to do the things that we are very good at and things that are very positive about us. And we're going to make sure that we do the right thing. And we do the right thing, we will impact our family, we will impact our children, our parents, our friends, our community, the whole world. We will have this impact. So let's take advantage of this moment, being home, because this moment is going to pass. That's the good news. But take advantage of it, and now we're spending a lot of time together with our family, we're spending a lot of time together with our loved ones. Enjoy the moment. Rekindle the love and the compassion that we have for each other. Remember that we're not in this alone. We're all together as a community. Remember this month is the month of Exodus, Nisan. Just like God, when Jews were slaves, and said, how am I going to get out of here? How am I going to get out of here? What happened? We had the great miracle. That God took us out. Believe me, we're going to get out of this and we're going to be fine. Not only will we be fine, this experience is going to make us better people, better husbands, better wives, better parents, better community people. This is what it's all going to turn into. I know for sure. And let's be happy. This Shabbos, turn everything. Let's not focus on anything else. The coronavirus, this. Let's focus within ourselves, within our family. Be happy, sing songs, dance, and bring real joy into your home. Let's throw worry out. Because worry is not going to help us right now with anything. Let this be a beautiful Shabbos, a beautiful day, a beautiful thing for everyone. And remember that we will get past this. We will be blessed. We will have everything that we need in our life. Once this is over, it will be better and greater. And remember, it's up to us if we're going to be if we're going to be an egg, a carrot, or a coffee bean. I can tell you one thing. I believe that all of us will be coffee beans. And we will turn the water into coffee, and believe me, there's nothing tastes better than a good hot cup of coffee. Shabbat Shalom, and God bless you all.